Today, there are more career options than ever for young people to explore, and engineering might be the answer you are looking for. What do you want to do with your life? Save the planet? Help others? Design with computers? Chances are that you already have a good idea of what classes you like most in school and have started to explore various career options. But let's look at an even bigger picture. What if you could find ways to fight global warming by reducing pollution with more fuel-efficient cars? Save lives with medical breakthroughs for unusual diseases? Imagine all the things people use, cell phones, cars, buildings, bridges, and then make them even better using a computer. If any of these things sound appealing to you, it's time to think about a career in engineering. Yeah, I know. That's why you're here. So, who cares if you want to be an engineer? Experts predict there will be an extreme shortage of engineers in the near future. Talk about job opportunity. But here at ASQ, the folks who created this webinar, we're even more worried because we just surveyed about 1,200 kids like you who said they aren't interested in engineering, mainly because they don't know much about it and because they think it will be boring. And even fewer girls said they would be interested. In fact, more girls said their parents have encouraged them to be actresses or the President of the United States than engineers. Sure, both cool options, but becoming an engineer might be a little bit easier. Engineering can also be one of the most interesting careers around. Why, you ask? That's definitely something our two guest engineers can tell you about. Cheryl M. Birdsong-Dyer is a process engineer at Sprint Nextel in customer management. That means she helps customers troubleshoot problems with their cell phones. She has been with Sprint Nextel since 2001. Prior to Sprint, Cheryl worked for a company called AVI Systems, one of the top 5 audio-visual system integrators in the United States, which provides video conferencing and video production technologies to all kinds of businesses, sports arenas, and schools too. Cheryl is also a member of the Society for Women Engineers. Cheryl is excited to be with us today and hopes that she can convince at least some of you, especially you girls, to give engineering a try. Chuck Kanapicki is a quality control manager on the new self-anchored suspension span of the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge project for American Bridge Floor Enterprises Incorporated, a joint venture. That's the bridge that collapsed during the major earthquake in 1989. His job is to create a new bridge that will last at least 150 years and withstand the most powerful earthquake. One only comes about every 1,400 years. Chuck has over 20 years' experience in professional management of construction and engineering projects, including numerous airports, waterways, and rapid transit systems in Dallas, New York, New Jersey, and Southern California. Chuck looks forward to sharing his personal story with you and hopes it will encourage you to explore engineering as a possible career. And now, Cheryl, over to you.
Thanks, John. 21st century engineering is all around you. If you like math and or science, you'll likely love engineering. Whether it's the Xbox that you jump on the weekend or it's the Facebook that you check daily, all of these had an engineer behind them, designing them and developing them for our future. Today, Chuck and I would like to talk to you about a variety of topics that will include types of engineering careers, our personal stories, the skills that's needed to become an engineer, the educational roadmap in becoming an engineer, some of the benefits and perks, and helping you decide if engineering is right for you. Over to Chuck.
I'd like to talk a little bit about engineering careers to consider. As you can see up on the screen, there's a lot of them, and I'd like to start with a quote from a YouTube video I saw called "We Live in an Exponential World." We are currently preparing students for jobs that don't exist yet, using technologies that haven't been invented in order to solve problems we don't even know are problems yet. So if you want to get on the cutting edge of what the future is going to bring, you need to consider a career in engineering. And as John had mentioned, well, if you want to help cure disease and ease suffering, consider biomedical. If you want to make the world a cleaner place, consider environmental. Want to make science fiction science reality, consider computer or computer sciences. You want to build things, consider my field, civil engineering. And once you get into the field, you'll never know what it'll take you. For instance, my son-in-law is an electrical engineer and started out in cell phone technology with Motorola. I worked for the Department of the Navy, helping to jam cell phone and other remote control devices that are used to detonate roadside bombs. He probably didn't think about fighting bad guys when he got into electrical engineering, but that's what he's doing now.
Bringing cell phone technology to life, imagine having a job where you could use your cell phone all the time. As a process engineer for Sprint Nextel, I'm able to bring the Lean Six Sigma methodologies to customers by helping agents with step-by-step actions in solving the customer's issue in the least amount of time to help the overall customer's experience. That provides me with the ability to help the nuts and bolts of Sprint's process operations. How I got started in process engineering is when I was around 7 years old. My father was an environmental engineer for Colgate-Palmolive. I went with him to work frequently, and remembering the vats that he overseen in the warehouse of Colgate-Palmolive, looking at them and seeing the fact that they often ended up in our households that included dish soap or toothpaste.
I'd like to share my story with you now, what I'm working on and how I got into the business. As John mentioned, I'm working on the newest self-anchored suspension San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge, a brand new bridge being built to replace the bridge that got partially damaged in the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. One-of-a-kind bridge, never been designed or built, and we're going through that process right now. I'm the quality control manager on the bridge for the joint venture that's building it, and in a most basic sense, I'm just here to make sure that the materials and workmanship are correct, the right things, and our basic principle is plan, do, check, and act. I got into this business kind of in a roundabout way. I originally wanted to be a naval aviator like my father, but ended up finding out that I was red-green colorblind. But by the time I was in college, I was in an engineering program, and I stuck with it. In the 36 years I've been in this business, I've worked on skyscrapers in New York City, large dam reservoir projects in Southern California, and a subway extension to the airport out here in San Francisco. It's been quite an odyssey.
Who wants to be an engineer? If you enjoy problem solving like puzzles, you may be interested in engineering. Being a team player is helpful for engineering, as well as math and science are also great skills for engineering careers.
I'd like to build a little bit on that, education and qualifications. So let's talk about the math and sciences right away. I was certainly no top-of-the-class genius, and like most people, I was a bit mystified and felt like I didn't get it. All I can say is take the pressure off yourself, stick with it. If you feel like you need some help, get it. But just remember, engineering, math, and science is just a way of modeling the real world. Just on a personal note, I've noticed that people with art and music skills often have good math and science skills, and that lends itself to engineering as well. So I think there's some traits there that are in common. I'm going to talk a little bit about higher education and some options in there. Well, I'm going to start with internships. That's a program where you can do college part-time and then work for a company part-time. College is not a mock job, and if you really want to find out what it's like to work in the engineering field, an internship might be a good option for you to explore. It takes you a little bit longer to get through the program, but when you get out, you'll be ahead. And in terms of the higher education, it starts with college or an advanced technical school. You need to start preparing early, junior year in high school at least, I would suggest. You need to narrow down the fields of interest in finding the best schools that fit your personal circumstances. And remember, like anything else, the better the school, the more competitive the entrance requirements, so the best prepared have the best chances. And one thing I've found about engineering is that you never stop learning.
Some perks for engineering. There are many benefits to pursuing a 21st century engineering position. That includes building new creations and helping make already built things better. You're usually always working on a lot of different projects, so you rarely get bored in an engineering position, as well as you get to work with a lot of different types of people. Check out the www.coolestgadgets.com and see all the great engineering products that we have out there today. This would also include the robotic lawnmower for you kids that get stuck with doing the lawns in the summertime. You could create and build a robotic lawnmower so that you no longer have to mow those lawns in the summertime.
I'm going to talk a little bit about exploring if engineering is right for you. Certainly there's a number of websites that you can find: Science Olympiad, Future City, National Academy of Engineering's Grand Challenges, or one that Cheryl recommended, Try Engineering. And you can certainly explore those and find out if engineering is right for you. If there is an opportunity to take an aptitude test, that might give you an idea of engineering is right for you. And of course, math and science are important, but I found in my career being able to write and speak in public are just about as important as math and science. When you're in a construction job, you have to really communicate with people and say what you mean and mean what you say. Maybe you know an engineer, or maybe you know somebody that knows an engineer, and you can talk with that person. I was fortunate enough to have a family friend that was a structural engineer, and I got to see the kind of person he was and the project he worked on. And I remember him taking me down to the newly built Dallas Cowboy football stadium that his firm designed. I remember how impressive that was, and that really had left an enduring mark on me. Just in closing, for my part, engineering is like a roller coaster ride, slow and uphill at first, but once you take the first drop, it'll be fast and exciting. You'll never know which way you'll go or where you'll end up, but it's a great ride.
Thank you to both Chuck and Cheryl for their time today and all the great information that they've shared with us. Be sure to check out asq.org/education for more information on engineering careers, and visit a few more sites, some of those that were mentioned today, tryengineering.com or discoverengineering.org, which offer many great ideas on how to get started in exploring an engineering career. If you have any specific follow-up questions about the presentation, you can also email directly Cheryl and Chuck. Cheryl's email address is cheryl_birdsongdyer@yahoo.com, and Chuck's is ckanapicki@sbcglobal.net. This is John Van Slyke thanking you very much for joining us today in this webinar, and hope you enjoyed this. Good luck on your career exploration.